There is a podcast about an island in the North Atlantic where people have been looking for an incredible treasure for more than 200 years.
Hello and welcome back to Could It Be?
An Oak Island podcast.
We are your hosts, Deidre and Dustin White.
Yo, what up? How you doing?
Yo.
We had
One
a
more
fun-
time. What up?
Yo, what up? We had a fun episode this week.
We always
crazy,
have a fun episode.
a lot of crazy stuff going on over in the money pit, over in the swamp.
Yeah, I mean, those are our two areas, really.
Well, they hung out in the research center.
That's true.
Come on.
War room, right? Yeah.
So, hot dog. So let's chat about it, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea since
Okay.
that's what we're here for.
Well, let's talk about that ring that they found. So they went to the swamp, right?
Yeah. So, episode 18, Lords of the Ring. They find a ring.
The one ring to rule them all.
It could be because we find out a number of things about said ring.
What do we find out? Okay, wait a second. All right, so who's there? Who finds the ring?
Okay, so at the swamp, we have Rick and Gary metal detecting.
Yeah.
We already know it's the dream team, and Gary points that out later. But, okay, so Gary always, he's funny. They've drained the swamp, but there's a lot of dirt, a lot of water in there still. Oh, dirt in there. But he says, be careful, it might be a little squidgy.
Squidgy.
Yeah, so is that a term for like quicksandy, or
I don't know.
is squidgy a term for swampy?
Sure.
Maybe.
Perhaps. I don't know.
I don't know why
Who said
not.
that again? Was
Gary.
that Gary?
Yeah,
So you know what it probably is? It's probably an English thing.
Yeah, probably.
So it's probably not meant for. We're not meant to know.
That's it.
It's like they have their
It's
own
okay.
little version of the English language over there.
I get it. I still liked squidgy.
Squidgy. Yeah.
All right,
So-
first thing though,
Mm-hmm.
they don't get the ring on the first go.
No, they find some kind of tin can, right?
Tin can lid.
Yeah.
That had to be a letdown. It's like, woohoo!
Yeah. Well, what did so Gary said like, yeah, I don't think that's Templar or something, right?
Yeah. I'm wondering, is like someone standing out by the swamp with their like can opener, eating ready for a can of beans and like nom nom nom,
Nom.
and then throw it out there?
Yeah, I have no idea, but what I do know is that Gary said it's definitely not Templar related. So
Yeah.
that's the certainty that we have from that find.
Yes, that, and I'm guessing it's just not related to the treasure story, period. Templar or not.
Yeah. So then they do get the second signal
Mm-hmm.
that he gets Rick to dig upon,
Mm-hmm.
and when he sees something, Gary gives a big old whoop.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, he's excited. They found a ring, and I noted that Rick was giggling.
Yeah, of course he was. Like, hello.
Yeah, so I typed my notes into an email.
No.
Right? And so that's how I take my notes, and I leave it as a draft email. And I typed in the word Rick,
Mm-hmm.
and it has predictive text for the next word. And one of the predictive words is giggles. Like, because I've been writing that so much this year that Rick giggles about something.
That's funny.
So hey, he's having a good year.
Yeah, he's having a giggling of a year.
Yeah.
Is that like a
giggling.
giggle, like a gaggle?
A gaggle year. Yeah.
We could write a Dr. Seuss book about the Curse of Oak Island, except it wouldn't be a Dr. Seuss book because
In the style of.
there we go.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. So they look at the ring
Mm-hmm.
and they note that the pattern is pretty intricate.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to do things like that on older rings because more modern rings, they would put a lot of jewelry on them, right?
Yeah,
So-
they'd put stones in them to make wedding rings or
Mhm.
any, I don't know. I guess it makes sense more I think about it. It would be simpler to place a stone in it than to go through and do all this work of chiseling out a design or
Mhm.
stamping it or whatever.
Yeah, we'll get more to that in a moment when we get to the research center. But yeah, it was a cool find. How often do you find a ring on Oak Island or in the swamp, right? So
We'd have to ask them, but my guess is not often.
no, like they've been finding some brooches,
Yeah, that's true.
right? But they have not found a ring as far as I can remember. Did they find something in Smith's Cove last year that was a ring? I don't remember.
Mm-mm.
I don't know. I'll have to go back and rewatch it. But yeah, it was just a cool find, and I hope they find some more stuff like it. Now that they have the swamp drained and they're doing some search around the kind of the perimeter in areas that they weren't able to get to before. I mean, who knows what's there for the taking?
Yep.
They weren't expecting to find the lead cross a couple of years ago, right?
No,
So,
absolutely not.
I know that's Smith's Cove, but
it's on the island. Okay,
yeah, for sure.
Rick asks if it is a top pocket find.
Well,
he's like, oh, well, yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
And
he
then
just unzips it right away, sticks it right on in there.
Of course it is, but he didn't put it in that top pocket fast enough, I guess.
Not for Rick, apparently.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Whatevs. Yeah.
And they're excited, so they're gonna go take it to show their friends.
Well, why not, right? So they head on over to the research center, and we have Gary and Rick, and they're meeting up with, they're the ones that go on to show the ring, right? Marty's in there, Laird is in there, and conservator Kelly Barassa.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. He was there, and that's convenient.
Yeah.
That's the guy you'd want to show it to, right?
Yeah.
He's the one that looked at the brooch that had like the possible appeal to heaven design on it, right?
That's true. And it makes sense that he's there, I don't know, preserving things, especially whatever they find. So,
well, it's just their good luck, I guess, that he was there when they brought in something that needed to be looked at by someone like him. So it was perfect.
Good fortune.
Yeah. So they show the ring to Marty, and Gary just has a huge grin on his face, and Marty's just like, "Oh man, you found something good, didn't you?
You found something." Yeah. I mean, Gary, I feel like, does not have a good poker face.
No. I would love to play poker with Gary Drayton.
Yeah, because we could clean him out.
Yeah.
And maybe we can get him to bet some of his Spanish treasure finds.
Well, apparently he has found thousands of rings, right? That's what he said. He's not bragging at all.
No.
He's not patting himself on the back. That's a little bit later in the war room, but he's it was really funny how he's like, yeah, no big deal. I found thousands of rings, but this one's different.
This one has me stumped.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty funny. And so Marty commented how small the ring was, right? And I've seen some people's ideas on like one on Facebook where it could have been like a pinky ring.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, they would wear pinky rings, and you like if you kiss the pinky ring, or if it could have like some kind of, what do they call it when they do a wax seal on like something?
Oh yeah, I see what you're
called?
saying. I couldn't tell you when it's stamped.
Yeah, but with wax, and they can like imprint a design on it. That's something that could have been done with the ring. You could imprint into the wax the pattern of the on the ring. So
you're saying that ring, like if you were going to seal an envelope, maybe you pour the wax on you and you're like, this is my symbol.
It could be
kind of like, well, you probably don't know because I did it. No. Sent out our wedding invitations.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Did like the wax seal and then the stamp with like the W.
Yep.
Okay, well, similar idea. That would have been a way to stamp an envelope back in the day. And if you send a lot of mail, why not keep a...
Well, not just stamp, but like seal it.
That's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah. So, well, it's kind of like a stamp, but you're sealing it. And so when your letter's received, nobody's looked at it because the seal is not broken. Yeah. Right? Kind of deal.
So that seal, you know who it's from.
Yeah, it could have been something like that, or it could have just been a woman's ring, But we have seen a couple of these rings pop up on like Facebook pages, of people that have like, it's basically the same ring, right? And I remember reading about one of them, and like in the post it said, I got this ring about 40 years ago from my mother. And then I read some comments, and I think the person didn't know when their mother received it. So it could have been very, very old. Don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, not a lot is known about this ring. And as far as those comments go, the people that had them, or that woman at least that had that ring, didn't know anything about it. Yeah. And her mother passed away, so she can't ask the mother anything. So don't know. Mystery.
Yeah, unless you have some kind of paper trail, if you will, or like written records of who, what, when, where, and why, then it's just hard. I think we also noticed, because they put it under the microscope, is what looks to be like a repair maybe done in the back. That they were different types of metal.
So the ring that was on Facebook looked like it had a repair in the back too, just almost just like it. So don't know.
It's a common place for a repair, especially if it's a softer metal, or what's mentioned later in the episode for resizing. So maybe a portion was taken out to expand the ring for someone when it was passed down, or it could then been repaired to be made smaller. I don't know if they used to do this, way back in the day, but for me, the first thing I thought of with the back and it looked like a heavier reinforcement also could have just been them adding some type of reinforcement in the back of the ring. So those who work with their hands a lot and wear, say, gold rings, softer metal, they're going to wear out the back of their band rather quickly. A mason maybe, or just like mechanics have that. My father was a machinist. He used to just tear through the back of his rings with his hands. So you'd get extra metal added on. Or what I've also seen is having the metal added on just as a weight to keep it from spinning, so it stays on the bottom of your hand. So there's a lot of different reasons this ring could have been repaired or had metal added the way it was. Just my 2 cents.
Is that why you got me a, what was it, tungsten ring? So I wouldn't tear through it.
Yeah.
Because I would I work with my hands a lot. So.
Yeah, gold is notorious for doing that. And that's one of the reasons I think a lot of people, besides the expense, moved away from gold men's rings, because they just wear around on that back. And then they twist a lot. And if there's a decorative design on top, you don't want to keep twisting that. So
makes tons of sense.
Not that it adds anything to the treasure story, but I like to speculate. You like to speculate. That's what we do.
Hey, so the woman that has the ring that I saw on Facebook, she got it from her mother. Her mother, it may have been in the family for 200 years for all we know. It could have been something she found at a flea market. We have no idea. And so it could have been, the person that sold it at the flea market had it for 200 years, or that family or whatever. So who knows? We just don't know.
That's just it. We don't know. Nobody knows if it's been within a family, stayed within a family. I mean, that's a long time to hang on to something.
Yeah, but finding a ring on Oak Island is a big deal. That's treasure. Yeah. They found treasure. So
and in the swamp, which was an area of interest. It wasn't too far from where that coin came out in season 1.
Yeah.
Right, and that was a Spanish coin.
They think this could be a Spanish design.
Exactly.
Yeah, we get to that a little bit later too, though. Yeah, Marty commented, or sorry, not Marty, but Gary said that people did have smaller hands back in the day, so rings would probably be a little bit smaller.
Why were their hands smaller? Did they work with their hands more and they were like fit?
No, it's because nowadays I'm not a scientist, right?
Yeah. But I know.
We eat a lot more stuff that's like processed. We drink milk. Milk wasn't like a normal thing, back in the 1700s that people they couldn't get it in the mass quantities we can now. And so we're just bigger people.
We're all on steroids.
No, because like the average height of a man back then was probably like 5'5". Now it's getting close to 6 feet tall. We're just bigger people now.
So. We're mammoths now.
Yeah. Yep. So we're bigger.
And our hands got bigger with us.
Our hands got bigger. Yep. So Kelly Barassa looks at it and he says he believes it's partly made of silver. And Marty wants to know who the last person was to wear it. What's the story behind the ring? He recommends sending it to Professor Luton Brain. We met him last season.
Yes.
And because he's a gemologist, a jewelry expert, and they want him to take a look at it. So I thought they were going to send it to him or have there, but I guess they just took pictures.
Yeah.
Must have been some pretty detailed pictures, close-ups, every angle, so they can see what's going on with it. But
probably the quickest way in order A, to not lose it, and B, to be able to get the information to him.
Yeah, for sure. And so Gary tells Marty tells Gary that he needs to take his hole digger back out there and find some more stuff. His hole digger being Rick.
That's like Marty's sign off. Okay, go get back to work. That's really cool. Get back to work.
Mm-hmm. True that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so continuing on with the ring, because we're going to follow the path of the Fellowship of the Ring here.
Yeah, we're currently following the ring story, and then we'll get to the Money Pit story.
The ring story is the most important story.
Well, it's the one that the episode's named after.
Well, who cares? Yeah, that's great.
Who cares?
Not.
They care.
I'm just saying, like, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
is the best movie ever made. So
okay,
you need to watch it with me.
Okay.
I'm not talking about The Hobbit. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. That never ends.
Sure. All right. So we have more about the ring when they go to the war room to discuss, because they do a teleconference with Professor Luton Brain, right?
Yep.
And what goes on?
Well, Doug's there, Billy's there, Rick's there, Jack's there, Gary's there, Dave's there, Steve. It's a party.
Yeah.
In the war room.
Well, I'm just glad we got some Billy this episode. Even though he didn't say anything, we didn't get any excavator work. So it's good to see Billy hanging out,
Seriously, since Smith's Cove's a bit, wrapped up.
Yeah. Well, he's been doing some stuff in the swamp. But, it's good to see Billy still, in the fold.
Of course.
Even though he's not
Billy's going anywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see here.
So Charles, that's his full name.
Yes.
And let me see here.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a typo. I'm like, what the heck did I write here? So I wrote 30 tests, but he has 30 years experience in gemology, and he's a master goldsmith.
Over 30 years.
Over 30.
Third goldsmith. I mean,
it's pretty hardcore.
That is hardcore.
Would you want to be a goldsmith?
Sure. Why not?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll do.
Deidre wanted to be everything growing up.
I still want to be everything, and I'm not grown up yet. So take that.
Yeah. Okay. You probably want to be an Olympic gold medalist at some point too, right?
That'd be great. I don't know what I could do.
Curling.
Okay. Why not? I'm all about learn a new skill.
Yeah. Well, I mean, curling is the one that you don't have to be in great, super good shape.
That's perfect for me.
Those are still athletes.
Oh,
I'm not taking away anything from curlers.
Oh, but you don't have to be I don't need to go run a 6-minute mile right now or anything.
No.
So that's good. Yeah. I can stand upright on skates.
There you go. I don't even think they use skates.
Really? I feel like if you don't have skates, you're gonna fall.
Oh, they have these special socks that grip.
Gripper socks? Yeah. No one told me there was gripper socks involved. I'm there.
I could be wrong. I don't know. All right, let's keep going.
I think you're wrong.
All right, they show Professor Luton Brain the swamp found ring, or the ring found in the swamp. There's a flashback of the last time they met with Professor Luton Brain. Yeah. That's the moment that we always hold near and dear to our hearts, because it gave Deidre her favorite Clotworthy moment of all time. It does.
Secret
recipes written in code. That's her favorite one. And so Gary is over there. Like I said, he was bragging about the thousands of rings he found.
Yes.
But he says this one's different. The professor says that the ring is old, says it's likely repaired twice, once to make it larger and once to make it smaller. And he thinks that it might be bronze or high-grade copper with silver.
And that the silver's kind of gone. What's in between would be silver, because they, it's kind of been in the swamp and it's deteriorated away. He also mentions with the floral design that it looks more handmade or chiseled, and not done with a saw blade, which helps us try to date it, just because the tactics isn't the word. The way that they made the ring would have changed over to saw blades at a certain point instead of chiseling them, if you will.
Sure. Yeah. Because they would have used a different technique is what you're looking for.
That's the word.
Yeah. It's all right. I got you. I'm looking for... I sent you something, I thought I did, about how the flower design was kind of like a Knights Templar
you
symbol.
talk about the flower of life, or
I just don't remember. I'm trying to find it now, but I can't find it. The information I sent you, but it's something to think about, because who knows? I mean, could it be Templar? Gary hopes so.
I'm not ruling it out yet.
But go ahead.
But Gary agrees now that Professor Lutenbrains pointed out it does look very much like a Spanish type of design.
Yeah.
And they're in agreement. There was also the Spanish coin in the swamp.
Mm-hmm. Good connection.
So there's definitely a good connection there. I'm really curious if they're going to send it off for a laser ablation test or...
Isn't that only lead?
I don't know. I would assume they could do it with other metals. I am also not a scientist, so there is my disclosure.
Yeah. Well, whatever test they can do to it, they're going to do. Mm-hmm. So believe you me.
Believe you me. Yeah, I guess I shall do that then.
Yeah. So it looked like it's prior to 1730, at least, upon first glance.
Yep.
Is that all they did with the ring?
I believe so. I'm just double checking.
Yeah. I think it is. So
that's it.
Hey, the ring, cool find. You don't find a ring on Oak Island every day.
Nope.
Keep up the good work, Gary.
Keep up.
And your little digger buddy.
Yeah. So Rick's now a digger buddy.
Exactly.
He's not the leader. Isn't it like, take me to your leader?
When he takes him to himself?
Yeah.
No.
Sure, why not?
He's a digger. He's the lucky digger.
He's the lucky digger.
All right, so Money Pit. Lots of stuff happening.
Okay.
You want to talk about it?
Well, yeah, we're not going to ignore the Money Pit.
Yeah, so we arrive at the Money Pit at the beginning of the episode with Rick, Gary, Scott, and then we had ROC, Rock Equipment, and we had Irving Equipment Limited.
Yep.
They were all present, and the caisson had reached 50 feet deep at that point.
Okay.
They were digging through the remains of the head and shaft. And man, if people make jokes about them finding wood, they found a lot of wood today.
So much
wood.
But
it was more modern wood.
Yeah.
And they knew it. They knew what they were going through, and they knew exactly what they were hitting. They were not like, I think they were excited to be in that spot, but they weren't like, oh man, let me go and test this wood or whatever, because that's not the priority. They know what they found.
Because they knew they were in the head and shaft and were kind of following that wall down. What's nice is they do know exactly where they're at. They can... Yeah, obviously it's on the map and they know exactly what they're looking at. So following it down, it's going to be a little slower going because they hit so much wood. So much wood, lots of hammer grabbing. I made a note that as the hammer grab is pulling stuff out, it's putting it in its own U-shaped structure, because they have these cement like barriers and they're all in U-shapes for the different depths.
It's on brand. They might as well.
That's what I figured. I was like, look, U-shaped structures.
Yeah, cool.
It made me happy to see the engineering
That's funny.
continue. Oh, that was the first thing I noticed in like the opening scene. U-shaped structures.
You didn't shout it out when we were watching it, so
no, I shouted it in my brain.
In your Luton brain. Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. So, yeah, they were looking through those spoils, but I mean, they weren't like looking through those spoils. It was below all that stuff is when they really started getting through it with a fine tooth comb, right?
Because they're like we were saying, they already knew what was above. Gary was saying they could have a chance at the shiny gold thing.
Could they?
He was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, they were getting closer and closer, and Rick thinks that they're very close to finding the original Money Pit. So that's good. Then there was like a little clot-worthy flashback about the 1626 carbon dated testing wood that they found earlier this season. And then there was I wrote here, so much wood coming out of the hole.
Oh yeah,
so much wood. Yeah. Rick really wants to find a piece of wood that looks super old so they can send it off for dendro testing. And Scott says he can have the wood. He'll take the gold.
Okay, Dave.
Yeah. He's like, okay, Dave, even though,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And they both laughed because Scott made
that's funny.
Oh, I wrote Scott made a funny.
He did make a funny. Good job, Scott.
Yeah, that was fun.
Way to make a funny.
Yeah, so then we go to the next section of the Money Pit where Rick and Craig are approaching to the site to join Terry Matheson to check on the borehole OC1 progress.
And of course, Danny the pirate.
Danny the pirate. Arr!
We should explain how Danny became Danny the pirate.
All right, so Danny is from Rock Equipment.
Mhm.
He's
He shows up with
I think
Vanessa.
I think he's Vanessa's right hand man.
Most likely.
Right? And so he's up there, doing his thing with the oscillator, and he's the one. I think he coordinates a lot of this stuff too.
Yep.
And it's just funny. Last season, he did what'd they find? They were pulling up some kind of big, huge beam or something, right?
It was
and
huge
he's
hanging out.
Look at that one, Arr! Or something.
Because he's so excited as it comes out.
It was pretty funny, and so we've always lovingly called him Danny the Pirate ever since, because he sounded like a pirate.
Exactly.
Or at least what you think a pirate would sound
on
like.
our next week we got another glimpse of Danny the pirate going,
Yeah, he was pretty excited.
Yeah, so I feel like his inner soul is a pirate.
His spirit animal is a pirate.
Perfect. His spirit animal is a pirate. And
humans are animals too, okay, everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to debate you on that. We concur.
Yeah. Well, Danny explains where they're at and what's going on. Rick asks to be told if there's anything strange happening. Let me know if there's any increased pressure. Let me know, this or that. And so we had a new animation, because what was going to happen next, they were finally going to get below all that head and shaft stuff. They were going to move on to doing stuff with the wash plant. So there was a new wash plant animation. That was pretty neat.
Yeah. Good old wash plant.
I haven't seen the HMS wash plant all year.
I know. So, I'm glad to see it come back.
Except for, where was Captain Jack?
I know.
Captain Jack Begley is the captain of the HMS wash plant. So
maybe he just had that day off.
Okay. When you work at Oak Island, you don't get a day off, Jack.
That's true.
Go back to work.
Yeah.
That's what your uncle would say.
Yeah, you only get to sleep in the research center.
Okay, maybe not uncle. He's not. Marty's not his uncle.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like adoptive.
Yeah, adoptive
uncle, kind of.
I wonder if he does call him, hey, Uncle Marty.
I'm guessing he doesn't.
He should.
I got $10 on no.
Yeah. All right. So Gary joins them. He's doing his metal detecting thing, going over the spots that they've pulled stuff out.
He asks what the target depth is, where they get to the good stuff, is his quote.
Yeah. So they say that currently they're at 105 at that point, and another 5 feet or so, give or take, is where they're expected to find some good stuff.
Yep.
Terry describes the sand that was found was from the head and backfill. And so Gary picks up a couple of wedges he finds, and Terry found one as well. And, it's just, they're finding some, they're not exactly, I don't think, expecting to find these things, but they're not out of the ordinary for what they're looking through, right?
Yeah, they're just, the
tools
wedges
of the time.
For them were a little different. So it makes sense to send them aside. Okay, who knows? Maybe this will be important.
Yeah, but it's head and stuff. So it's it's just stuff that they didn't maybe necessarily expect to see, but it's not surprising to see.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me get back to my notes here. Then we've got
Alex, Marty, and Doug end up joining everybody.
Yep.
Marty points out the bigger flat pieces would be great for dendro.
Dendrochronology.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he says dendro.
Yeah.
So I'm going with that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just throwing the word out there again.
Okay.
I just like to prove I have a big vocabulary. Or at least I could say a couple big words.
Okay. Marty says they're the ones that he calls half logs.
Yeah. They're sawed on two sides.
They're flat on two and not on the other.
Yeah. So he wants to cut pieces of those off, for the testing to get the age. But yeah, they didn't hammer that home so hard to make us think that those could be a big deal. So I'm not.
They didn't hammer grab it home.
Basically. Yeah. So yeah, like you said, Doug joined them. A large metal object appears in the hammer grab.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah. So that was, for viewers, probably unexpected. We saw it on the Next Time On last week, but we don't know about all the ongoings of Oak Island over the past 100 years like they do. And I think they saw it. They probably were shocked for a moment, but then they knew exactly what it was.
Yeah. Rick said a little bit, I believe it was Rick that had said a little bit later, we expected to at least see part of the shield, maybe to clip it, but this was kind of...
What shield?
The head and shield.
The head and shield.
Which is an awesome term. And he said, but we got a lot of it.
Yeah, the head and shield was something that was installed to protect the from cave-ins and to like keep the water out.
Yep.
And it's just pieces of metal that were put around all four sides of this shaft.
Yeah, at the bottom.
Yep. So as that's happening, there is a sighting of Gerhardt equipment.
Of course.
A truck back there with Billy's name on it. So
The Billy sighting.
That was a Billy sighting, yes.
It's like Where's Waldo, but not. Where's Billy? Where's Billy's stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, Rick said they expected to, find the shield. Rick heads over to the wash plant to meet up with Paul Troutman, Steve, Scott, Charles, and two other guys. We don't know who they are.
No, I was guessing they were from Choice, and they didn't want to go home, so they put them on the wash plant.
Okay, there's two little worker bees out there.
Well, I was kind of taking note of how long like the conveyor belt was for them to search through. I was like, geez, they got a lot of people on there. Just I guess it keeps anything from going missing.
You don't want to miss something. One pair of eyes is not reliable enough for all that stuff going by. What happens when you pick something up to look at it? Well, you're missing all the rest.
Exactly.
So,
you got to have multiple sets of eyes.
Yep. So it's pretty important stuff. All right, Paul lets Rick know that they found some pottery, some glass, but they have not had an aha moment yet.
And you know what? I was like, what? We used to get really excited about pottery or glass or whatever.
Yeah. Why wouldn't we still? Like, what is it doing 110 feet below the surface, Unless it's something that hadn't dropped in there and that's it, and they're not, I don't know. Like what why aren't they excited about that?
I was thinking about this. So I follow some hashtags on the Instagram, one of them being buried treasure. But people, I guess, go bottle hunting. This sounds, I had never heard of it, but they just find like oodles of buried bottles in like old stuff, bottles and ceramic, and they're all in the same place. I'm like, is this a dump site? Like, why are people burying all these bottles on top of each other? But they pull them out and clean them up, and if they're kept whole, they sell them because these bottles don't exist anymore, and people like to use them in their home decor, and they make money off of them.
Yep.
And I'm just like, whoa, is this one of those places that everybody buried their bottles, and now we've got all this glass coming up?
Not that deep.
Like,
so it's funny you say that because I was watching a different History Channel show last week called Pawn Stars. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Yeah, definitely.
But a guy came in with a couple old bottles to sell them. And they're just old glass bottles that were like, one of them I think was a hair tonic or something from 18 something, 1800s. But he only got like $25 for both the bottles. I feel like being so old, it might be worth more than that. But maybe the pawn shop's going to make $200 off of them or something.
Even if they make $50 off of them, who knows how many he has? Like, if you found 20 of these bottles just buried in the ground, but the ones I'm seeing, people are finding just way beyond that in numbers, all buried together.
Wow.
Why are these bottles buried, and where can I find some?
Well, that's called buried treasure, and they're not going to tell you where they're buried treasure.
I know.
Okay.
I got to know about this bottle hunting thing. It's a whole new world to me.
If you want to go do it, if you want to go do it, go do it. I don't know if I'm going to be joining you. That doesn't excite me very much.
Well, you're just no fun. Besides social isolation, I'm sure there's
what?
That actually, I don't know. There's probably nobody where the bottles need to be dug.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. All right, so back to the wash plant. Then we had Rick standing there. He just like put his hand on it and like smoothed it all out.
Spread it out a little bit.
Yeah. He's just kind of in his element there too. I could feel him. He's like,
channeling his powers.
Yeah, he's trying to find that one thing.
He's feeling for the energy of the island. He's
feeling for the one thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I think Paul found a one thing and showed it to Rick.
Yeah, he found Paul's bone was found. So there's a bone that was found at a depth of about 120 feet. And it could be human.
It could be.
Is it?
What
do you think?
I don't know.
What do you think?
I'm kind of on the fence. It's big, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if it's an animal. But then, why would there be an animal down there that far? Why would there be a human?
So what's this bone called? The arm bone?
Yeah.
So I think it's that bone.
Okay.
I think it's a human.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's a human.
I'm leaning towards human. I'm just trying to speculate. Could it be something else?
Could it be?
It could, maybe. But with a bone being that big and it being hollowed out, it's got to have some marrow in there. So
They'll get some testing done on it.
Yeah.
No
Paul
doubt about
says
it.
he's got to test it.
Mm-hmm. Well, when he showed it to Rick said, "Oh, baby." I thought that was funny.
Yeah, he was pretty excited about human remains. So.
Yeah. Well, it was pretty thick, like you said, but then they had like this little side interview where Rick, he kind of lowered his expectations and said he's not going to say that it's human, but
and none of us are qualified to.
Yeah, none of us are qualified to, but they are near H8, so this could be an aha moment.
Aha.
Yeah. Do you remember aha from the 80s?
Well,
Take.
I was gonna start singing that. I was like, wait, if it's the wrong song, then
I like to sing that song karaoke. I can't really hit the high note though. It sounds pretty bad, but it's fun.
It's okay. I won't tell. Didn't we decide Paul was probably the best at karaoke? So Paul, I bet you he can sing that one and hit the high note. I bet you
Paul would be the best at karaoke. Yeah. I would love to go karaoke with Paul someday. I bet you anything he would sing some Weird Al with me. I bet you he would.
I bet he would. Weirdo.
We'll do Yoda. At least that's one that you like, right?
Yeah, if I have to pick one, then I'll go with Yoda.
There you go.
All right, more Money Pit.
More Money Pit. What else is going on there?
Let's see here. We kind of flash back away from the wash plant and come back to Marty being over there saying they should be below the head end shaft now.
Yep.
And they're checking the spoils. And Terry finds something interesting.
What does Terry find?
He finds what seems to be the top or bottom of a barrel or a keg.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. That's pretty cool. Like, that wasn't something I was expecting him to find. What would that be doing that deep below? Like, because Terry also said that they're in situ, right? In
situ soil.
Yeah, so nobody has touched this stuff, and they find that down there. Like, somebody was down there at some point.
Yeah.
That doesn't just, like, teleport into the middle of the money pit down there. So how does it get down there?
That's what Craig asked. And what's that doing down there?
Yeah, who put it down there? Then we get into all of Rick's questions. So who, what, when, where, why, how.
Oh, duh.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Stuff we'll never get the answers to, at least not right now.
Call it a keg.
A what?
A keg.
Yeah, keg. Like, okay. I thought I heard cake. I'm like, it's not a cake.
Cake.
You can have your cake and eat it too, okay?
I will, thank you.
Okay, so yes, a keg.
So I keep thinking keg party.
Okay, so they also use kegs to just store goods in.
No. If all the guys...
And according to Greg, according to Gary, also treasure.
Yes. I mean, we've seen some pirate movies. They also stored gunpowder in them.
Boom.
Goes the dynamite.
Yeah, well, we've been watching Lost.
Yep.
And they had like this old pirate ship that were in the last season and it just got blowed up. Spoiler alert.
Got blowed up.
Yeah. And it had, I think it had kegs of gunpowder.
That's probably how they blew up the ship in the swamp.
Yeah.
It was actually the Black Rock. But so
what does Doug say
I
about
want to know, first off, is this Terry's keg?
It is Terry's keg.
And is it full of beer? And what kind? So Terry, here's the deal. I need to know. If this is your keg, what are you filling it with?
Well, the problem is it's just like a piece of wood. It doesn't hold any volume. Sorry.
I said if. So if maybe he's going to finish it with all the other wood that they found, maybe some hand-hewn pieces into his own custom keg, and it's going to be Terry's bar. And I mean, grill? Unless he doesn't like beer. And maybe grill? It's his juice.
Oh, sure. But it's bar and grill, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
He can
Is he
go hand in
barbecuing?
hand with Mug and Anchor. They could do like a 2-for-1 or something.
Surf and turf.
Except for keg and cake.
All right. So Doug says that it matches the original an original treasure cache story.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, of a guy that grabs the top of a keg and runs. Run.
But he had mentioned it because I was like, what story is he talking about?
From going from underneath, right?
Yes.
Until they got flooded in. Like they were digging underneath the money pit. And then they triggered the booby trap or whatever. And they started to get flooded in and they got out, but that was one piece that one of the guys had brought up with him or something to that effect.
Yeah, he had grabbed something weird when they went to try to run out from it being flooded. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. I mean, that was good info for me. I felt full of knowledge, if you will.
That's all this show does is fill us full of knowledge, whether it's useful or useless,
and keep us on the edge of our seats.
Well, they keep us excited, right? All right, so they're not sure if the thing is a searcher thing or a depositor thing, but I guarantee that whatever testing they can do on it, they're going to do.
Of course.
They began searching at. They were about 147 feet deep. They found another chunk of wood and a beam that looked like it was hand hewn. So
older.
That's probably another piece that they're going to do some dendro on, right?
Below the head end level, all good things.
And then I noted Billy with his green hard hat.
Of course, you didn't even. I was like, "Oh, look, it's Billy." I didn't see Billy. Yeah, it's because he was wearing a hard hat.
Yeah.
Nobody sees Billy wearing a hard hat.
Well, he was there. So.
It's just weird.
They said, Billy, if you're going to be on set today, sorry, you got to wear a hard hat.
But of course, it's green.
It is green.
Naturally.
Yeah. We need to get him a little, could it be an Oak Island podcast sticker to put on his hard hat? Would that be cool?
Yeah. Yeah, it would be. And the other sticker should say hashtag Team Billy, and he can just wear it around.
Promote himself?
Yeah. And then the hashtag Team Billy will take off. I like it.
There you go.
You're welcome.
All right. So they're doing some more hammer grabs, and they're not as full as they were earlier. They start picking up less and less stuff. Gary isn't even getting a squeak on his metal detector, searching through all the spoils.
Poor Gary. He's sad.
Danny the pirate shows up, and he says at about 158 feet that they're about to hit the bedrock. And they're going to do one more hammer grab because Craig requests it.
Yep.
And it turns up empty, and we're all sad.
Everybody's sad.
That's really a bummer because it's the big old giant 8-foot case on over the spot they think is the money pit, and then
at least very close because we know Hedden went down and over, right? So we were thinking some stuff would have come in, but my thought is that
I think the down and over was somebody else.
Did you watch the animation? Should watch the animation. Okay. I'm sure because they were going to come underneath it.
Yeah. Hey, I just, I don't know. There's a lot of
so
places
where
I don't pay attention properly, I guess, even though I take meticulous notes. My notes are really long, and I want to apologize for calling Aaron Taylor Alex Taylor last week because Deidre was right and I was wrong.
I'm so glad that it's recorded.
Whoops. Yeah.
But he literally threw a little fit because I was calling him the wrong name.
I wasn't throwing a fit. I was just
I think
you're wrong. But...
Go listen to the previous episode, and we settled on calling him something else because we had different names written down.
Yeah, well, you were right.
Oh,
and I apologize to
me,
Aaron.
To me, you apologize to me
I don't
for
have
saying
to
I was
apologize
wrong.
to you.
Okay.
Why would I apologize to you?
Because I was right the entire time, and you fought with me.
I tell you, I'm sorry for everything else all day long, every day. This is one thing I don't think I'm sorry about. Not to you.
But
anyway.
you say you're sorry.
I'm sorry to him.
There's no reason to say you're sorry.
Because
this is the sorry moment.
Let's move on. All right. So,
anyways.
Yeah. So Rick then has this little side interview where he's explaining where he thinks maybe the money pit has shifted over time.
Or the contents of the money pit.
Yeah. It says just because we found the money pit
location
doesn't mean the stuff is still there. It could be elsewhere. Well, where else can it be?
Well, it's still going to be in the same area. Yeah, okay. It's just like the ground is going to shift.
Well,
right?
plus,
We have one island, 2 islands.
Yeah, well, you have all these people digging in this spot and taking earth out. So it's going to be a hodgepodge and unstable down there at some points. It might not be unstable right now, but, maybe 50 years ago when or maybe 60 years ago, whenever before Dan Blankenship took over, and maybe even before that, who knows what happened? It could have had an underground collapse that nobody noticed, and things shift over. Who the heck knows?
That doesn't even have to do with the other collapse that we do know about, and then flooding and all these different things. Since we don't know yet where the back door is, if your back door had a tunnel leading into said place, and that's all hollowed out, could have gotten sucked in through there too.
Swamp. Backdoor swamp.
Swamp door.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. Hopefully we see.
Oh, we'll see.
Yeah.
I have faith.
All right, so they take a field trip. That's a very not far field trip, very close by field trip.
A field trip on the island.
To
Dan, what was Dan Blankenship's house.
Yes. So that's Rick, Dave, and Doug. And they talk to Linda Flowers. That's Dave's sister.
Yep.
And Dan's daughter. And she's the custodian of Dan's house now.
Yep.
She lives there, and she gives them permission to go through Dan's files.
So they head down to Dan's office.
Yeah, and Rick is such a gentleman, right?
Oh, yes.
He's like, ladies first. And then he offers assistance to Dave. He's just trying to make sure everybody gets down there safe. And what a nice guy.
Such a nice guy. They like to poke at each other. So they go check out Dan's office. You go in, there's just so many files, so many boxes.
Lots of file cabinets, yeah.
Things are everywhere. I noticed that Doug says, okay, do you want to start with maps? Do you want to start with documents? He wants to go in kind of a systematic order. And Rick's like, just grab a box. And my thought was, I bet you Doug is thinking, no! I bet you there's a gif of his mind, freaking out, maybe an OCD thing, or because he's a researcher. He's got a system, and Rick's like, oh, there's a nugget everywhere. Let's just start looking at whatever. Here, grab a box.
Yeah.
Whew, that would be rough on me.
Yeah.
I feel you, Doug.
I think it's funny. Yeah, well, before they actually start digging in, Rick has this little side interview where he says that there isn't a day that goes by that he doesn't think of Dan Blankenship.
Yeah.
That's just a sweet little moment.
It is
he thinks
sweet
that
moment.
Everybody feels that way that works there.
I have no doubt.
I have no doubt too. So Rick says it's a bit overwhelming because Dan isn't there and because the volume of stuff they have to go through. And Doug then finds that map that he hasn't seen it before apparently. And
because Doug is systematic and thinks, how do I find an X? I find a map. I'm starting with maps.
He found a map. And but that scene ended with Dave saying, now we're cooking.
Yeah.
So, all right. Then they move on to the research center to they need to nail down a spot for a case on.
Yeah. Rick says, before you leave this room, we need a spot. Basically, they've been locked in. They lock the door. Pick a spot. Yeah.
So, they go to do that. They look at this map that Doug had found and the ones that it was in Dan's records.
Yep.
And it was made by a partner of Frederick Blair and Gilbert Hedden. Those are two people we hear a lot about on the show.
Exactly.
We haven't really heard about Irwin Hamilton. He's a professor of engineering at New York University. And he and his men worked to research more than 20 previously constructed shafts. And he made a survey grid with his findings. I bet you Steve loved that.
Oh, yeah. But stepping back, over 20 shafts. So we're saying, where did the stuff in the money pit go? We at least know there's 20 sets of holes in the ground that's going to shift stuff around. I'm just throwing it out there.
Makes it tough.
Yeah, I'm sure Steve loved it because they also point out, well, Doug does, that it's to scale. you can plot this then, right? He's
Yeah.
like, here, get to work. Here's your homework.
Yep. And the thing that they want to find is shaft 6.
Mhm.
It's a shaft from 1850. It was supposed to have been filled up and could potentially have items in it from a possible debris field of the treasure chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly. Yeah.
But no one knows if this treasure chamber is a thing.
Yeah. Steve went on to say something like he said that the information that they're finding is pushing them towards one area.
Yeah. He keeps saying it, and he's holding his hands up in a circle. Like, it keeps bringing us to this one area. But, it's bigger than 8 feet. Our circle. Well, we need to tighten our circle down to 8 feet. Rick says, we need to tighten this circle. Yeah.
Well, he wants them to find shaft 6 so they can triangulate where the next caisson is going to go and cross our fingers.
Yeah.
All they could do is do the best educated guess that they can get with all the information they have. And, they thought they had it with this last one, but maybe it's the next one, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of research that goes into this. Like, wow.
Yep. And then the next note I have says, it's the start of another hope-filled day on Oak Island. So
not an unhopeful field.
Yeah, we got Irving Equipment, Rock Equipment. They're back. Charles, Scott, Gary, Jack, Rick, Doug, and Dan Hensky.
It's a party.
They're all hanging out. There's a new shaft that they're going to, new borehole that they're going to be working on. And it's called 8A. It's 20 feet southwest of borehole OC1. And Charles says that, wow, I don't know what he says because I wrote like 4 numbers here that I don't know what they mean.
Okay, so Charles says that we're going to be slowing down around the 90 to 100 foot mark and get real serious because that's where we're expecting to see something.
Thank you for
You're welcome. Vanessa was like, okay, kind of what are the depths we're really need to slow down and look at? Because those first few feet are kind of like just go for it.
Just go. Yeah. Well, Gary, he felt really good. He's like, I think we're gonna find something this time. So I hope he has a good premonition about all this, right?
I hope his toes are tingling and we get a gold dance by the end of this.
Rick says that he hopes Gary's right. He wants something to validate all the blood, sweat, and tears over the decades. We labored to an end that everybody believed in. So and that's it.
What else Charles had said, which you may have been wondering, was that 1861 is the last time they knew the location of the money pit.
Yeah, that's what I typed in, but it turned into, because I was typing fast because I was trying to take the notes while we were watching it, and I wrote 2867. So that would be in the future.
Maybe he travels through time.
Maybe he is a time traveler. We know he's the keeper of secrets.
That's right.
Hey, Charles had a birthday a couple days ago.
Oh, yeah. Happy
birthday, Charles. He's an April Fool's baby.
I feel like he's good at playing jokes or he hates them.
Probably both.
Yeah, that's true.
He likes to play them on other people. He hates it when they happen to him.
Right.
Just kidding.
So something I noted that Gary said that gave me a little chuckle was that it's cool to be part of the world's largest smash and grab. I was like, yeah. It is. That's a really good point.
With 3 million people watching you do it every week.
I know. Why not publicize your very large smash and grab?
Totally.
Okay.
All right, then. So that's the end of this episode. Then we have next time on The Curse of Oak Island. Oh, man.
Let's dissect that one.
All right. So the first thing I have in my notes is Alex and Gary are working in the swamp, right? So they find something that looks like a cribbing spike, similar to what was found in Smith's Cove.
So they're about the same size. So that could be an indication of it was water before in the area. Maybe there was a dock or something just big built there.
Could be.
Something was built.
Could it?
It could.
Be?
It could.
Yeah, then they take it to Carmen Legg. You know him. He's our new favorite blacksmith.
Always.
He should have his own show.
He should.
Yeah. He should have a show with Billy. Like, Billy does the digging and Carmen Legg renders the opinions. Right?
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
I'm game for that.
Yeah, and see, he says that they were placed as booby traps.
Yeah. which I thought was really interesting. I'm thinking back to all the booby traps from like World War II and the caves and the mines, but this obviously would have been older.
Yeah. Don't know. Yeah, I wish I knew more about that. That sounds very intriguing, but that's the hook. That's what they want you to wonder so that you tune in next week.
I want to learn about ancient booby traps now. That actually sounds like a really fascinating.
All right. Watch the Goonies.
Ancient.
Yeah, that's ancient.
Like archaic.
Yeah, guess what? Those were set up by One-Eyed Willie and his men, and that was from the 1700s.
Okay,
Ancient.
you know the Goonies is fiction, right? I mean, the place is like Astoria is real. It's close to us, but
there was booby traps in those tunnels. I seen the movie. Okay.
That's such a great reference. Just watch the Goonies.
Yeah, just watch the Goonies. All right, so then we have the money pit. They're pulling out big chunks of wood in the hammer grab.
Yep.
So maybe they're on top of another shaft, apparently.
Possibly. Vanessa saying they're cutting through something.
Yeah, and then Danny starts celebrating.
Yeah.
Arr!
He's
Pirate
freaking
voice.
out.
Yeah.
I love it. Excited Danny makes me excited.
Yeah, somebody said that they could have found the money tunnel. There's a money tunnel?
That's what I said. I was like, money, money, money. Why weren't we looking for that?
Yeah, right. Right, totally. And then then they get a shot of the wash plant where it looks like Jack is finally back. You know, Jack is in charge of his ship here.
Exactly. He is captaining, but I didn't see any like yellow Gordon fisherman's get up, which kind of made me sad.
Yeah, I missed the old wash plant where he got filthy.
I know.
And you know where it was just a table
with the table
and the fire hose.
Yeah, and then Marty like was in on it, and you know, maybe they'll bring out the old tables when they've done so much digging and they still have a lot of spoils to get through. So they've got the plant. And
we could only hope.
Oh, I know. I will come and wash spoils.
All right. So what happened in the wash plant there at the end?
Well, it looks like Steve found something. Jack gets stoked and says it looks like a hinge.
An inch?
An inch?
Yeah.
Could it be?
Yeah, and he says, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Second time he said that.
When he is excited, that I think is his go-to now.
You know when Jack is excited. Right? Hey, you were noting that looked like Steve was wearing like 8 layers of clothes.
Yeah. So Steve, like, he never wears a hat on the show, right? And I always celebrate. I'm like, yay, thank you. I don't have to Photoshop your hair into like some type of in the card or whatever.
Trading cards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he was wearing a hat and I was like, who is that guy? he must be freezing if that guy put a hat on.
I don't know, I guess.
It must be cold out there. I bet you Billy's wearing pants.
So it's got to be like October or November, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have a nice summer in Nova Scotia. So
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It must have been a very cold day. That or they were like getting really wet, so it was even colder.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's the episode.
That is the episode.
Thanks for listening to us do our little spiel about it.
Our little spiel.
Hey, it was fun. I enjoyed it, but I think next week's going to be even better. They're building up to a big crescendo. I think there's like 4 episodes left this season.
Which, I mean, that's a big deal. Plus, we have a couple of drilling downs that are not on the usual nights.
Yep, we got a drilling down about Francis Bacon. I think it's called like the Shakespeare Connection or something. And then we have one about the founding fathers of the United States and how they could have played into the Oak Island lore. And, you know, that's a big part of the theory, the number one theory that was shared just this last season. Right?
Yeah, that'll be interesting to dissect a bit further.
Totally. So, yeah.
Let's move on to our next segment, huh?
What's that?
Oh, it's Clotworthy time.
Is that where, are you doing your Clotworthy dance?
Yeah, I'm doing my Clotworthy hammered dance.
So, okay. So, Clotworthy moment. What was the winner last week? So last week we had a couple of good choices. We had, I believe, something between the walls and
a layer of rocks.
And the layer of rocks. Okay. Yeah. So, what did people vote for on Facebook and Twitter?
Well, the winner was from this last week.
Walls beneath the ground near the ball foundation.
Walls
beneath
near the
ground?
ball foundation.
Oh,
We got
man.
some wall ball going on here.
Oh my gosh! I just heard walls near the balls. Okay, weirdo.
Wall ball
Yeah,
time.
hey, I loved wall ball when I was a kid.
Oh yeah,
sure.
I was like
Okay.
a master. At
I
that
would
one.
destroy you.
Okay.
Just like that time I raced you up the
Oh my gosh.
up the rock wall.
He decided to race me up a rock wall, like the ones with the two sides, and he's like, I'm gonna destroy you. And he can run faster than me, but I was like, okay,
I can run way faster than you.
I'll race you up the wall. And so I did. I went as fast as I could. I was afraid he was going faster than me. And then ding, Dustin's
I wasn't even halfway up yet.
He was like a quarter of a way up the wall. And I was like, oh, I really thought you were hot on my tail.
Yeah.
No, destroyed you.
Hey, you know what? I still made it up the wall.
That was a rock wall.
We were fine. It was fun.
It was. It was a good time had by me.
Okay, what does that have to do with Clotworthy?
Because there was a rock wall.
Okay.
So we had to have a side tangent story,
All
apparently.
right.
Okay, we had some excellent Clotworthy moments.
Aren't they all?
Yes, but I mean, we had a lot of them this episode.
Good.
And I felt really confident about that.
Okay. So what did you pick for the Clotworthy moments to go up against each other this week?
Okay. So the first one.
An ornate ring? Could this simple piece of jewelry offer an important clue as to who might have constructed the elaborate stone formation at the swamp, and possibly when?
Could it?
Maybe. I mean,
like
the ring
that.
was a big deal.
Yeah, that's good. I like the Clotworthy moment about the ring. That was great.
It was nice and long in length, like you prefer with your Clotworthy moments.
I like the Clotworthy moments to be like more than just 3 or 4 words. So yes, thank you.
You're 3 or 4 words. Well, I guess 3 because you have a middle name.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so cool. I like that.
And that's going to go up against.
Yeah, let's hear it.
A piece of bone found nearly 120 feet deep in borehole OC1?
Paul's bone.
Paul's bone.
Or Gary's ring. See, look, it's found things.
Okay, yeah. So those are good choices. And if you want to vote on which one is your favorite and contribute to the podcast by picking the Clotworthy moment, okay, I'm going to try to do this differently this time. Go to facebook.com/OakIslandPodcast.
Good job.
All right. And you can vote there, or you could go to Twitter and you can find us at OakIslandPod and you could vote there. And either one of them works. We combine the scores, the votes, and we figure out the average, and we figure out who is the winner for the Clotworthy moment. And you can participate. You can make that happen.
You can make that happen. So vote on Twitter or Facebook. Other places you can find us, get a hold of us, are on Instagram at Oak Island Podcast.
Yep. You can email us at OakIslandPodcast@gmail.com.
We also have a website, so you can listen there, send us a contact through there, which is OakIslandPodcast.com.
Yes. Then you can also call us and leave us a voicemail. We would love to hear your voice and possibly play it on the podcast. 360-836-4549.
Fantastic.
Yes. And so we have a couple little announcements here. We have watch-alongs.
Yes.
So last Saturday, we had our first Oak Island Podcast watch-along episode where we watched The Curse of Oak Island Season 1, Episode 1, and we did a commentary through it. And then on Sunday, we did a recap podcast.
Correct.
And it was a lot of fun. Did you enjoy it?
I had a great time.
Yeah, we seem to have good responses from the community about it. So thanks. I hope every one of you that listened and downloaded it enjoyed it. And I hope you watched it with the episode like it's intended. Otherwise, it's a really strange podcast. But we were going to do another one this week, but we had some stuff going on this week where we were unable to record that. So it's going to happen next week.
Yeah. So we're going to try to keep it on a bi-weekly basis while we're all stuck in quarantine, because we got a lot of stuff to do as well. So if we can keep it at bi-weekly, we can continue to get that done. And then we'll go back to a monthly basis once we're out of quarantine. And I think that's it on that side. And then tonight.
Tonight we have Oak Island Trivia Game Night.
That's right.
Game show. So the Oak Island Trivia Game Show, I think is what we're calling it.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you want to come and participate, please do. It's going to be a weekly thing, as long as people keep showing up on Fridays. So if you listen to this podcast after Friday, don't worry. The next Friday, come to our Facebook page, and that's facebook.com/OakIslandPodcast. And you can participate in our weekly trivia show where we give out prizes. And how it's going to work. So for tonight, I know people are in the chat right now that are going to be there tonight to participate in the game. What you're going to do is answer 30. We've upped it. Last week we had 20 questions. This week we have 30 questions. 10 of them are Oak Island related questions. 20 of them are general trivia questions. And so you have a chance to win some real prizes. We're going to give out the person that wins, the top player will get a pack of trading cards featuring all 20 of our Oak Island trading cards that we've been putting out. People that come in second place through 19th place will all get one trading card mailed to them. And so it's just a fun way to participate with the community. A lot of fun questions, and you get to show your brain muscle a little bit with answering your trivia questions. If you're up high on the list, you're a pretty smart person, because these aren't
your brain muscle.
Well, these aren't very they're not super duper hard trivia questions, but they're not easy either.
No, but it's also just fun.
It's fun. You guys will enjoy it. And we will be back to do that at 5:00 Pacific, 8:00 Eastern tonight.
Yes.
And every Friday going forward.
Is April 3rd, 2020. In case you are listening to this podcast back like a year later. And
yeah, that's fine. But even a year from now, hopefully we're still doing it weekly. But who knows?
Correctamundo.
Who knows where we'll be in a year. But so please participate. It'll be fun.
Okie dokie. Well, we will see you guys tonight, I guess.
Yes, we will. And until then,
hey, don't take my line.
Okay, then you do it.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me do my job. Until next time.
Could it be?